Shalom, this is Dr. J. Rawlings reporting to you for Fact or Fantasy. And the fantasy that we're dealing with in this week's program is that Israel's conflict with the Palestinians is blocking democratic reform in the entire Middle East. The fact is that the old saying that the Palestinian-Israeli conflict is the source of all evil in the Middle East is being brought out again to justify the failure of the Arab states to embrace President Bush's democracy initiative or to reform the authoritarian societies in the Middle East. If the conflict was resolved tomorrow, or if Israel ceased to exist, the Arab world's despots would be no more interested in reform than they are today. The divisions among the Arabs were on display again in March 2004 when Tunisia abruptly canceled a planned Arab League summit on reform. While some of the Arab officials suggested that Israel was to blame, the Tunisians themselves made clear that the problem was the unwillingness of the Arab states to agree to any reform or even to endorse the principle of democracy and reject extremism and terrorism. Tunisia's official news agency noted, and I quote, "Unspecified countries refused to support calls for tolerance and understanding and would not allow the word democracy to appear in the final draft of a position paper to be approved by the heads of state." End of quote. At least 7 Arab leaders had bowed out of the meeting, and several countries, led by Syria, made clear their disinterest in committing the Arab nations to national or institutional reform. No Arab nation would support Libya's suggestion that other governments follow its example and give up programs to develop weapons of mass destruction. Of course, the summit host, Tunisian President Ben Ali, is no Democrat. He seized power in 1987 through a palace coup and has ruled the country ever since. And he's one of the newer Arab autocrats. Hosni Mubarak has ruled Egypt since Anwar Sadat's assassination in 1981, and Libya's Muammar Gaddafi has been in power since 1969, and the Saud and Hashemite dynasties have maintained monarchies in Saudi Arabia and Jordan for decades, and even they are the newcomers on the block compared to the family that has ruled Oman for 250 years. Lebanon is a puppet state under Syrian domination, and Syria has been a dictatorship run by the Assad family since 1970. Yasser Arafat and now Mahmoud Abbas, the new president, who was Arafat's crony for decades, dominated the Palestinian politics and have ruled the Palestinian Authority with an iron hand since its establishment in 1993. None of these tyrants have any interest in implementing reforms that would allow the people that they lead to choose their own leaders in a democratic way, because they know that they would be swept from power. They will therefore continue to use Israel's existence as an excuse for avoiding any meaningful changes to their totalitarian societies. This is Dr. J. Rawlings reporting to you for Fact or Fantasy. Shalom, and see you next time.